And Mayor, I'd just like to add, at one St. Patrick's Day parade, Patrick let me march with his shillelagh. So that was interesting. Thank you.
You never miss one. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we will address the comments from the dais of the committee members on the business on the agenda and reports on recent events in their respective departments. And we'll start with Police Commissioner Kevin McMillan.
Thank you very much, Mayor. On June 15th, I attended the Lakewood Township NAACP annual dinner. Former Neptune Township resident Ken Morgan was honored for his great work with the Panhellenic Council. On 6/23, I attended the Mayor's Ball, which was fantastic. It was a great event, and I'd like to commend the mayor for putting on a great event. It was one of the best that we've had, and I had a great time there. On 6/24, Deputy Mayor Williams and myself went to the grand opening for Indelible Impressions, which was in Neptune. This is going to be a daycare facility, so we had a great time there. And yesterday, I spent time at the soccer tournament that was held at the middle school. I know they had different sites, but I was at the middle school. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Next up is Mr. Robert Lane.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the privilege attending on Father's Day Herbert's celebration of life. Like you said before, I didn't know Herb that well, but I respected what he did, taking a building that was built in 1897 and saying that he sees something there that he could do instead of tearing things down. It's too easy these days just to tear down an old building and start from new when there's so much style in these old buildings. And he had, I said, he had a vision back then of what he could do with his building. It was an honor for me to attend this, as well as Deputy Mayor Nick Williams and his son Eric Hotelling. On behalf of the Township Committee, the Deputy Mayor, we gave a proclamation for her, and I said there that his legacy will live on in that building for what he's done. And it's another loss for Neptune. I also recently attended the Ocean Grove homeowners meeting on Saturday. We also went to the Monmouth County Democrats Black American Caucus picnic, where they're trying to get more people involved from other towns. It was nice in Eatontown, so we had a lot of people come to that function on Saturday. I also attended the Mayor's Ball, which is it was an awesome event. I don't want to take anything from the mayor. He's going to let you know what happened at that event and how we did. And then the last thing I want to mention again there is a 5K race coming in September 16th, which is Run for the Arts. This money helps the Judicial Arts Center. I already told my wife says if she wants to run that, I want to try to get myself back in running shape again. But you know, these little 5K races help raise money for different organizations around different towns. And it's always been an honor for me to run different ones like that to help other ones. And I hope people can come out for this one. Thanks, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone, Charles Rizzo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As many of you know, we have World Changers coming into the area on the 10th of July. Somewhere around 230 young people who pay to come and fix other people's houses will be here. So let's make sure we give them a big welcome. They'll be on the beach in Ocean Grove on the Wednesday, so that would be the 12th. So if you see a whole bunch of buses, you'll know what that's all about. But these young people come and they do renovations, they're painting and really helping out a lot of neighbors. It's a really wonderful thing. I wish we could see more of that. On the 16th, I went to the EDC meeting. We've been talking about what kinds of things we need to be able to do to improve the development options in the township. We they talked about some of the things that I've been doing with the high school in Jersey Shore. On the 18th, we actually had Jersey Shore people come over to the high school. And there were 35 kids who were graduating this year. They're not going on to college, but they're really eager to have an interesting career path and a job. And so Jersey Shore came over, they talked to them about that. And out of that, about 14 of those kids have signed up for the next step to go over to Jersey Shore, and that'll happen this week. On the 23rd, I met with guidance counselors at the high school to see if there's something we could do even more to make next year even better, because this was pretty rushed. So things are looking up. I'm hoping that we'll see at least 3 young people with new jobs at Jersey Shore this summer. And of course, it'll be there's a career path there. I also went to the Mayor's Ball, which was a lot of fun, and I want to thank the Mayor for thinking of getting those beautiful flowers. They were really, really outstanding. The music was good, the dancing was great, the food was good, so thank you. And then finally, I want to remind everybody that July 4th is the parade that goes through Ocean Grove. It's our little bit of Americana. And this year, NJN News, Channel 12, will be there to do a story on our parade. So I hope all of you will attend and have a good time. That's all I have. Thank you, Dr. Tony.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity and the pleasure to attend the middle school graduation this year, but not only attend, but to listen to my daughter speak and give the farewell address as she was this year's valedictorian in the Neptune Middle School. So that was an honor and a pleasure to be there. Also, I attended the Mayor's Ball, and again, I'm not going to elaborate, you were all there, and we'll let the Mayor finish up with his comments on the Mayor's Ball, but again, congratulations, Mayor, it was great. I also attended with Police Commissioner McMillan on Saturday, the indelible impressions, and it's just great to see a young couple, husband and wife, put all their money and all their time and effort into making a successful business in our township. It's an honor to see when people come in and they do live in Neptune, they are from Neptune, they're very active in sports, but they took their money and they opened up a child center and nursery on Atkins Avenue, and again, we do wish them well. I also attended the memorial service of Herb Herbst and presented the family with a proclamation from the mayor and committee on Father's Day along with Committeeman Lane. And this week I met with the harbor master on the Shark River Hills Marina. We're about 98% full at this time, with the possibility of adding a couple of more boats and trying to get it up to that 100 mark. But that's that'll be a feat in itself. But again, they're installing a new camera system for security and safety measures. It should be starting this week, and that should be completed in about the next couple of weeks. And again, boat owners could always feel safe knowing that there'll be eyes and ears watching their marina and their boats anytime during the day, night. We have access to bringing it up on computers and just keeping an eye on the whole marina when people are either there or not there. Mayor, that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. On the 17th, Deputy Mayor and myself and the redevelopment subcommittee interviewed a couple of redevelopment attorneys. We're trying to, that's in the process of jump-starting our redevelopment program. We had some good responses, and we'll vet them a little bit more and inform you of the decision in the future. Also on that day, the 19th, I sponsored a dinner and graduation gifts for 7 Neptune High School seniors from the Mayor's Youth Cabinet to give them their farewell and thank them for what they've done and wish them good luck. And all of them are going to college, and we wanted to wish them good luck on their future. And as everyone has spoken about the Mayor's Ball, education and recreation, a great fit. That was the motto, and I picked that motto because it fits into what this committee has committed themselves to, and that is to continue to make Neptune and improve the efforts to make Neptune a friendly place for businesses. And when businesses come in, when we redevelop, they want to know, what kind of school system do you have? What kind of employees can we look forward to? So we want to do, Neptune realize that we can do more in this partnership with the school board. And they just had an election, and we will be reaching out through Vito to the school board to let them know that we want to be a partner in that endeavor to help the kids in Neptune. And the mayor's ball was education, recreation, and great fit. That was a step to show how important this is. And apparently, those sponsors who donated to it felt it was important to them also. And we raised a record $50,115. And that record, as I was told before, was unbeatable. Well, well, we beat it, and we think that's a statement that's been made by those people who donated, and I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of the committee who helped that happen. They did a lot of hard work. They made the place look very nice. It was a great event, and the printer, I want to commend the printer for putting out that booklet. That's the first booklet that I'm aware of that was completely in color. Any ad that we got that was in color was printed in color, and it passed a lot of black and white pictures. So it was overall a great fair, and I enjoyed myself, and everyone else did, and I'm glad that it's over. It was a lot of work, and that's all I have here. And right now, I want to ask the township attorney. There's been talk about the Turner report and different aspects of it, and we did not respond as completely as some people would wish. So I wanted him to make a statement to set the record straight about the Turner report. So, Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This statement is a statement of the Township Committee, the Mayor and Township Committee. It's been reviewed and approved by our labor attorneys involved in litigation, and all the attorneys that have been involved in these matters. The Township Committee, in its limited capacity to release information, would like to address public requests for the release of the so-called Turner report. First of all, the Turner report was not authorized by the Township Committee for purposes of evaluating the Neptune Township Police Department as a whole. The report arose from a desire to evaluate one situation and one situation only, which was the claims arising from the 2013 lawsuits brought by Christine Savage and Elena Gonzalez. The parties never ultimately used the Turner report in the lawsuits, nor did they authorize its release at settlement. Number two, the Township Committee is prohibited from discussing the lawsuits further based on the settlement agreements and the general releases entered into between the parties, which have confidentiality clauses which prohibit discussion or disclosure of documents relating to the lawsuits, and only allow the Township Committee to indicate that, quote, the matter has been resolved, close quote. Any further action would be in violation of the mutual agreements between the parties. 3. The Superior Court of New Jersey Law Division, Monmouth County, issued an order on April 28, 2016, in a separate legal matter denying a subpoena seeking the release of the Turner report or any testimony of Gregory K. Turner. 4. Under the Open Public Records Act, reports into specific sexual harassment investigations are not public records, since they would violate the privacy rights of all those people involved. Therefore, the release of the Turner report would violate the privacy rights of all individuals who were involved in the investigation, and it could subject the municipality to further lawsuits for invasion of privacy and violation of the Open Public Records Act's limitations. In summary, based on the prior settlement agreements, a court order, and employees' privacy interests, the municipality cannot release the documents requested. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now, next on the agenda would be public comments on resolutions only. Anyone has any comments on resolutions only? Seeing none? We'll go to ordinance.
Okay, first First up is ordinance 17-18, an ordinance to amend volume 1, chapter 7 of the code of the Township of Neptune by adding handicap parking zones on Edbury Avenue and Cookman Avenue, and removing handicap parking zones on Central Avenue and Webb Avenue. Final reading.
Anyone from the public have any comments on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offered by Committeewoman Rizzo, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Committeeman Lane, call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-19 is a bond ordinance providing for various sewer utility improvements by the sewer utility of the Township of Neptune in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1.8 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,710,000 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Final reading, is there anyone in the audience that have a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offered by Police Commissioner McMillan. Second by Deputy Mayor Williams. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-20 is a bond ordinance providing for Fletcher Lake bulkhead, bridge, and roadway improvements by and in the Township of Neptune in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $500,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $475,000 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Final reading, any comments from the public on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I offer.
Offered by
A
Deputy
second.
Mayor. Offered by Deputy Mayor Williams, second by Police Commissioner McMillan. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yep.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-21 is a bond ordinance providing for 2017 road improvements by and in the Township of Neptune in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1 million therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $950,000 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Final reading, anybody in the audience have a comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offered by Committeewoman Rizzo, second.
I'll second.
Second by Committeeman Lane. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley.
Yes.
Ordinance 17-22 is a bond ordinance providing for acquisition of property within the Westlake Avenue redevelopment area by and in the Township of Neptune in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $750,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $712,500 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Anyone have a comment on this ordinance? And I would,
Mr. Jones.
yes.
Goldberg, 114 Grand Road, Neptune. My question is.
Can't hear you.
My question on this ordinance is, you're gonna buy a property on Westlake Avenue. Is anybody gonna buy it from the town?
Oh,
You hope. Well, why-
We don't have a
why would-
commitment.
Why would we buy property?
this property is in the redevelopment zone. So developers
Is
want
somebody
to,
own it and paying taxes on it?
yes.
Then why would the town buy it until they have a buyer?
We have, we're talking about multiple properties here, not just one individual property. And we have interested parties who are willing to negotiate a sale with the township in lieu of the need to proceed with a taking. So the township committee is interested in obtaining these properties through negotiation so that we can package up a larger parcel towards redevelopment. That's the desire here.
The question I got, Vito, why should we buy something if we don't have a deal that we know is solid? I don't understand.
One of the reasons is with regard to the redevelopment on that and some of our other redevelopment areas is the individual ownership of property, not being able to package up an entire project to move forward on. And that's some of the kind of feedback we're getting from potential redevelopers. So the township has an opportunity to acquire, and we believe it's in our best interest to do so that we can move forward with redevelopment.
Well, what if this guy is so-called interested, all of a sudden backs out of the deal? And it means that the township is setting for a bunch of property they're not collecting taxes on again.
Well, we have a number of parcels on Westlake Avenue already in the ownership of the township, and as I stated, there is a desire by more than one redeveloper for consideration, and in order for us to move this forward, packaging up the properties makes the most sense.
I'll stand with that, but I do think that we have a tendency to buy property and the township owns it, and we're not collecting taxes on it. And I think down the road, that's gonna bite us.
Anyone else on this ordinance? Yes.
Gail Oliver, Neptune City. On this ordinance, what properties are there and how many properties are there?
Yes, 3.
Currently, we are talking to 3 property owners at this time.
What are those properties?
These are real estate negotiations, so we're not going to discuss real estate negotiations in the public forum.
You can't divulge what properties they are on Westlake Avenue?
Not at this time.
When will I be able to ask this question and answer?
As we move forward with our negotiations with the property owners.
Okay.
Anyone else on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Councilwoman Rizzo,
I'll second.
second by Police Commissioner McMillan. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley?
Yes.
Ordinance 17-23 is a bond ordinance providing for replacement of the municipal complex roof and other facilities improvements by and in the Township of Neptune and the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $800,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $760,000 in bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. Final reading.
Do you have any comments from the public on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I offer.
Offered by Committeeman Lane, second by Deputy Mayor Williams. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley?
Yes.
Ordinance 17-24 is an ordinance of the Township of Neptune in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, approving and authorizing the entering into, execution, and delivery of a lease and agreement with the Monmouth County Improvement Authority relating to the issuance of county guaranteed pool, loan, and lease revenue bond series 2017 of the Monmouth County Improvement Authority. Final reading.
Anyone have any comments on this ordinance from the audience? Seeing none, do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offered by Committeewoman Rizzo, second.
I'll second.
Committeeman Lane, call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley?
Yes.
Ordinance 17-25 is an ordinance amending Volume 1, Section 7-21.5 of the Code of the Township of Neptune entitled Handicap Parking Violations Penalties. First reading.
I have an offer.
I second.
Deputy Mayor Williams offered, McMillan, second. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley?
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 25 will be held in 2 weeks, which is Monday, July 10th. The consent agenda tonight consists of 15 resolutions, starting with number 17-278 and running through resolution number 17-292.
Before I ask for an offer, do I have an offer for the consent agenda?
I'll offer.
Offered by Committeeman McMillan,
I'll second.
second by Committeewoman Rizzo. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Brantley?
Yes.
Resolution 293, to reappoint Dawn Crozier as Deputy Municipal Assessor.
Do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offered by Committeeman Lane, second.
I'll second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Williams. Call the roll.
Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
With pleasure.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
Yes.
Resolution 294, extend offers of employment to Brian Galatis and Connor Williams for the position of driver in the Department of Public Works.
Do I have an offer?
Offer.
Offer by Deputy Mayor Williams.
I'll second.
Second by Committeewoman Rizzo. Call the roll.
Mr. Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
Yes.
Resolution 295, authorize the purchase of 2 police vehicles through the Cranford Cooperative Purchasing Program.
I'll offer.
Offer by Committeeman McMillan.
I'll second.
Second by Committeeman Lane. Call the roll.
Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes.
Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
Yes.
Resolution 296, authorize the payment of bills totaling $5,792,204.78.
Do I have an offer?
I'll offer.
Offer by Committeewoman Rizzo. Second.
I'll second.
Committeeman Lane, second. Call the roll.
Lane?
Yes.
Mr. McMillan?
Yes, with the abstention from the Neptune Township Committee, that's 4 yes.
So noted. Ms. Rizzo?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bradley?
Yes.
That concludes the resolutions.
Next on the agenda, privilege of the floor, public comments. Members of the public may address any concern related to the township. The public will be permitted 1 visit to the microphone with a limit of 5 minutes. Jack, put your hand up first.
Thank you, Mayor. Jack Reed, 94 and a half Peck Avenue, Ocean Road. Mayor, you will probably recall in 2014, the name of Wesley Lake was changed on the tax map from Wesley Lake to Wesley Retention Basin. But there was no resolution by the committee to do that. And the committee has the exclusive authority over the tax map. And it seems that nobody knows who changed the tax map. Now, Neptune did not, Asbury Park, they did not change their tax map for Wesley Lake. It's still Wesley Lake. The Wesley Lake Commission has not changed the name on the map that they don't have. They don't have a map and so it didn't change. And so I brought this up, I don't know, 6 months ago, whenever it was, and I think the committee was going to look into how that name got changed. Do you still have any idea who changed the name or how it got changed?
Yes, but I'll turn it over to Mr. Adeletta.
It's still Wesley Lake, Mr. Braden. On the tax map, it states other than Wesley Lake, but it doesn't change the fact that it's Wesley Lake.
The tax map is the official map. Tells you the name of streets, the width of streets. That's the last word, and that's the map you have to go by. And that map says Wesley Retention Basin. It does not mention the word lake at any point. A detention basin is a municipal facility. And so that lake changed from a space reserved for recreation and conservation to a municipal facility. And there has to be a reason why that changed. It's not like you just changed the name of the park from Adams Park to Jefferson's Park. I mean, it's...
Actually, Wesley Lake is a detention basin.
And it
detains and
it's
retains water.
It's a lake reserved for recreation and conservation.
That is correct. That is correct.
And there's got to be other plans by somebody for that lake. And I think eventually you're going to fill that thing in and use it for a parking lot or condos or something. That's what's coming. And it's coming because it's so polluted. There's a 2-year study now, right, about the condition of the lake. And at the end of that study, if they say, hey, this is so polluted, it's such a danger to the public, it's got to be filled in. That's what's going to happen. I know, the poor developers, what can they do? They're gonna just have to build apartment buildings there, I guess, right? Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Jack. Yes, sir.
Bringing up the visual aids discussion.
Thanks for the opportunity to come up. Randy Thompson from Asbury Park, representing Help Not Handcuffs, a nonprofit organization. We've been talking with you for some time, since late last year into this year, about the issues with the Neptune Township Police Department, specifically around the murder of Tamara Seidel, the curious in-custody death of Katie Lee Thomas after she was arrested for drug paraphernalia, and then there's also been some news recently of issues going on with your police department. With its own officers. What we've done is we've started a countywide analysis of complaints that are generated against police because of their activities. And what we've done is take a look at Neptune Township, and we see that your department is seeing an alarming rise in complaints against its officers, starting off in about 2011, and it's spiked through the roof. So I wanted to ask if, one, have you looked at this data in this manner? And two, have you taken any action regarding our recommendations of implementing a civilian review board, joining into the chorus of organizations now that are calling for external investigation of your police department? I understand the NAACP local chapter has now done that, and I applaud them for taking that bold action. And also for just making greater transparency of this information, which I don't think is presented in that manner from your police department in its annual reviews.
I can say this much, that Neptune Township has been improving its police department like other municipalities for quite some time. And one of the steps we take, and I mentioned this, not the only step, is the accreditation process to make policies standard throughout, as it is through the state. Not many police departments do that in the state, but Neptune has done that to improve our policies toward personnel, and we have taken steps, as you mentioned, the police report in there to make it more community friendly. We have done a lot of things in that area, and we continue to do more. We've added more police officers. They've had training, additional training, sensitivity training of late, and we will look into that report and see how accurate it is, so that we can maybe address it later in the year.
Have you taken any action specifically on transparency or accountability? I understand changing processes, so it's possibly a prospective healthier process. But what about an investigation as to holding actors accountable, possibly for their roles in empowering Philip Seidel and the numerous offenses he had, leading up to the wild daytime murder of Tamara, whatever happened with Katie Lee Thomas and those incidents?
Well, we can't be transparent on investigation, personnel matters. We address them and we correct as many as we can, and we will continue to do that. But to make any of that public record, that's not our job.
You could institute a civilian review board. You do have the authority under state statutes. The city manager is the appropriate civilian authority under state statutes. He has the power to form a committee, and members of the council can be on that committee, holding public hearings. It's been done in other municipalities. And also, my recommendation would be to, why not pass a resolution from the committee saying, you know what, we want an external investigation of this police department. There's been enough harm to the community. We're seeing evidence that this is systemic. That is not just Tamara Seidel, it's not just Katie Lee Thomas, it's not just a few officers who had sexual harassment claims. This is showing an alarming trend that is only going up.
Well,
is that something you consider?
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure about the accuracy of that. We'll look into
this.
This
comes from the Monmouth County prosecutor. We just put it into the format.
But I don't know that. You're saying that. Right. We'll look into that. But I will say that we are looking at the police department. We've been making changes and we'll continue to make changes. So you've seen some, you haven't seen some, but you'll see more as it goes forward. As far as the this commission you're talking about, that may or may not be part of discussions, but we are doing things and we'll continue to do things to improve our police department.
Okay.
Could you turn the chart around?
Could the public see the chart?
Thank you very much.
And the thing about it, I just want to add, Mayor, this is my first time seeing this, so we don't know what conditions that the data was gathered. And on the bottom, I don't see like a source. So this is our first time looking at it. But I do know in looking at the police annual report, they have thousands of interactions per year with the public. But this is my first time seeing something like that. The Seidel incident was an isolated incident, I would say. And as we say, we have an ongoing investigation with the KB Thomas, and some things are confidential.
Who is the liaison to the police department?
I am.
You are, and you have not seen.
I have not. This is the first time that I've seen data. Usually, when I see reports with data, it has a source. So as far as that, I understand that. I understand that by you saying that, but it would have a source upon which the information was gathered. This is my first time.
This isn't the report. This is just a slide to make
I understand that, but when you look at credibility, not saying that it doesn't, it should have like a source.
Oh, there's nothing incredible about this. We're talking about credibility. You don't want to take action.
The 5 minutes is up. We'll look at that. Ms. Sanders.
Good evening, Adrienne Sanders, Asbury Park, Neptune NAACP President. I appreciate your statement regarding the term report. However, I have a couple of questions regarding that statement. At the opening of the statement, it was referred to as the so-called Turner report, indicating that the report would have been falsely or improperly so named. So if it's not the Turner report, what is the name of the actual report? Is it deemed the Turner report, or is it?
We call it the Turner report because it was done by a man named Turner.
But is that the true name of the report?
It's the only name I know.
Okay, so that's the only name. And you stated that the Turner report was ordered, sealed, you said by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office?
I never said that.
Well, who ordered it sealed? The report is sealed?
The report was ordered for one purpose only, which was to review the particular lawsuit and the circumstances around the lawsuit. That was it. Then you had a confidentiality clause in the agreements which said all parties indicated they didn't want it released.
All parties indicated
Yes.
they did not want it released. And this report, was it paid for by the township, or was it paid for through insurance?
I'm not sure. I think it was requested by the insurance carrier and probably paid for by the insurance carrier.
Paid for by the.
But I'm not sure about that.
And the township pays for the insurance.
But that's
Through
true.
the insurance. Okay, thank you. I also would like to know what is the township doing on its own? You state that the Turner report was for one isolated purpose. What are you doing to collect data to find out the true climate of the police department, within the police department, so that you can make data-driven decisions? We are responsible for responding to data, and you're never going to get that data unless you take an informative approach to collect it. So you have to want to know. And we cannot continue to see incidences like the sexual harassment and this discrimination. I am aware that another officer has stated that they were disciplined as a result of supporting those two female officers. So there, I'm just saying, that's the allegation. So there's something that's going on here. And I think that as elected officials, you need to develop a measurement tool to actually find out what is really going on internally within that police department. Because there has to be something wrong. Someone who makes $129,000 a year, for them to just resign because they say the culture has not changed. See, a culture suggests that it's a socially accepted practice. It's socially accepted. And it continued, and they're alleging that that culture continued, and then filed another lawsuit in 2016. That's a sure sign that something is wrong, and we have to take more responsibility to do something about that. No one should have to come to work and be harassed and be discriminated against. This is not the 1960s or 50s. It was unacceptable then, and it's unacceptable now. So I'm counting on all of you to do something to make that situation change within that department. I don't know what you're going to do, but you have to have an action plan. There has to be a corrective action plan within this township to make a change. This gentleman, first time I saw his data, but there are some issues in the community. The community is speaking about the issues. And what's inside can't help but spill outside. So if the climate is inside in such a manner, it cannot be contained in its content within the community. You have to look at it. And I'm going to keep coming back to the meetings. I'm going to keep making demands. I don't care. I've already gone outside to the United States Attorney. Somebody has to get to the bottom of this. And if it's not you, then it has to be an outside source. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, as I said a few minutes ago, steps have been taken and will continue to be taken to improve our police department, as always has been. And when issues come up that weren't addressed in the past, they have been, will be addressed in the future. This committee, relatively new, learning a lot about the police department and our efforts to continue to grow and improve, and they will add more energy. They have added more energy and enthusiasm on the course that we're taking. So you'll see as time goes on that we'll continue to do things to make our police department what we profess it to be. Gentleman with the blue shirt, you've had your hand up for a long time.
Well, my name's Rich Louisiana. I'm from New York. I'm starting a business here. And I want to say, Friday and Saturday night, my business serves food late at night. So we observed by a headline, this we're right next door, with a restaurant that was previously called Yvonne's. And the only comment I saw is I sit there for 4 hours and I watch people come out of the nightclub and officers there, and I thought what I watched, they did an excellent job, and everybody, they kept the peace. There was fights out there, they straightened out. They park in my parking lot. If anybody drives bad, they would go follow them. So maybe there was one bad apple or whatever, but what I observed, although I'm not a resident, but what I observed for 2 days, they were very professional. But on another note I have is that my restaurant, I'm from New York, and when I was thinking about doing it, I represent a couple of people, and we said, oh, it's by Belmar, so it was called the Belmar Ale House. So I was gonna come here and apologize because technically I'm in Neptune, and I really didn't want to offend anybody, but I love the beach, and you know, when you see Texas Steakhouse, they're in New York and New Jersey, nobody complains about that. That's what my son said. So hopefully people wouldn't get mad about it. But tonight, as we speak, the Neptune Police Department is closing my restaurant down. And not only do they say that I couldn't use that name, and my attorney, Mr. Bruce Duke, has been talking to Mr. Cottrell, and we make sure everything's proper. So the lieutenant is saying that because we're coming in as new owners, that we didn't apply yet because tonight we were on, you know, they were getting approved for the extension of the liquor license. So tomorrow we're going to apply, which we own 50% of it, for the liquor license. So the problem is, though, there's 20 Neptown resident employees that work there for us. Tonight was a karaoke night, and this one lieutenant, the other officers refused to do it, but this one lieutenant that represents in the liquor authority says, you know what, we're gonna padlock the restaurant and put a flag over the name. And when you drive by, go past headlines, you'll see a sign over my sign, and the restaurant closed down, and 25 employees just got fired and thrown out of there. The old owner that I purchased it from was there with the police making complaints, and now she says she's taking the place back and is gonna try to put it back to Yvonne because her name was wrecked when I put the Belmont Ale House in Neptune. So I just wanna let you guys know what happened, and when you drive by and you see a restaurant closed down and 25 people with no jobs, you know what happened.
We do know what happened, and we wouldn't close the restaurant because of the name, unless it was very offensive to anybody. But Vito would address that a little further.
Mr. Mayor, I'll let Mr. Cottrell talk about the liquor license, but I will tell you that the Neptune Police Department or the township padlocks buildings. So I don't know where that comment came that we are padlocking or our police department is padlocking the building, because it's not something that we do.
Good, so can I serve food tonight without liquor?
I can't speak, I certainly can't speak for what is taking place down at the facility down there. I know you mentioned Yvonne, the prior owner or the current owner of the building, and what relationship you have with them. That I'm not aware of. The liquor license is a separate issue, and certainly Mr. Cottrell can talk about that.
Yeah, your issue is not, the police department is not padlocking your door. You have an issue going on with the owner, Yvonne, that has nothing to do with the township. And you're saying you're a 50% owner of the liquor license. You can't be an owner of a liquor license until you go through the process to transfer, to put your name on a license. So you're not the owner of the liquor license in Neptune.
Okay, well, I own the property and the real estate and business, and so can I serve food without alcohol? This is America, and because I'm in the Belmont Ale House.
It has nothing to do with Belmont Ale House.
So let me sell hamburgers. The
That's
police commissioner is sitting right here.
That's between you and the owner. There's a big issue going on with the relationship of who owns the property. It has nothing to do with the township.
Civil matter,
Right,
sir.
right, and that has nothing to do with us.
So then why did the police department tonight throw out 25 employees?
The police department did not throw out 25 employees.
Absolutely did. So can I go there right now and operate my restaurant with no liquor?
It's a civil matter, but just like you said, it's an issue between you and these other owners.
So the police department will not get involved, and I can open up and sell hamburgers tonight.
Mr. Annunziata, let me just say this.
Why wouldn't you answer that question?
I'll answer the question for you, okay? There are, any time a business plans to open in the township, there's a process that has to be followed. You have to come in and, number one, determine through the zoning officer, is your business a permitted business? That was never done. You started doing construction activities within the building, okay? I was there one day, 6 or 8 contractor trucks, no permits pulled, no discussion with our construction department as to what you were actually doing in the building, okay? We have attempted to, the township has attempted to communicate with you, and we've been unable to do that. And unfortunately, our construction official had to issue you a stop work order and a $2,000 penalty for not going through the procedure. Then there was the issue of the liquor license, which is separate and independent. The police officer that was on site today is one of our ABC officers that enforces the state's alcoholic beverage control requirements within the township. Okay? Then the next level is when you're reopening a restaurant or opening a restaurant, that Monmouth County Health Department has to get involved, and there has to be inspections of your restaurant facilities and so forth. So the township at this juncture, we have no idea of what you've done down there, or what, whether you're in compliance or not in compliance, because you have not communicated with us. The only communication the township had was a Craigslist posting that you put up there, okay, that showed the signs and said you were advertising for employees. That's the first time the township was made aware that there was going to be a business change. We weren't aware of it. And since there is a liquor license involved, there are multiple procedures that have to be followed. And in fact, tonight, this governing body is considering a resolution to renew Yvonne's liquor license, not the Belmar Ale House liquor license. So the township has to be concerned about what is actually taking place. Are we pro-business? Yes, we are pro-business, but there are procedures that have to be followed, and unfortunately, you did not follow those procedures. That's how we got here today.
There are also a thing called due process, and you could find me, you could do whatever you want, you could call Monmouth County Health Department, but you can't come and close me down and not let me cook hamburgers.
I'll tell you, our police department did not padlock your building.
They asked me to, and all the employees, so then let me go there and make hamburgers then, if you send the police department.
You can't.
Well, let me say this.
You have a stop order. You have a stop order from the construction official.
Stop working, it's not, the CO's intact, it doesn't say people can't come in and eat.
If you have a stop order for construction,
Stop
that means.
work. We did stop
Okay,
work.
stop work, so.
Yeah.
Now you're in the middle of construction without any
No, we
permits
stopped.
and you wanna make hamburgers.
So you're saying I can't?
I'm saying you can't until you get your right permits. Until the health department checks out your facility, until you get a
But the
construction
health
permit.
department didn't shut me down. You're shutting me down.
I don't know who shut you down. This is the first time I heard about it, but you're saying you want to operate without any permits, no zoning approval, no health permit, and no liquor license transfer. Now, that's not me.
Absolutely.
Well, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Okay? That's your answer then. I cannot operate. Thank you.
Barbara is next.
That's interesting. Barbara Burns, 4 Ocean Avenue, Ocean Road. With regard to the statement that Mr. Anthony read, you referenced an order. Was that a summary order? Was there a decision accompanying that order?
It was a motion made by a party to release the report.
So it was they asked for a subpoena, or
They issued a subpoena, and someone filed a motion to quash the subpoena.
And which
And
one?
basically, the court held that you couldn't release the report.
No, that's not. They didn't grant. They didn't grant.
Grant the motion. They didn't
Yeah,
get-
but they didn't say that you couldn't release it. They just said they weren't going to.
The order reads that the request for release of report is denied.
Yes, but they didn't say, that's different than saying, than saying that you cannot release. They're just saying that they won't compel the release.
They won't allow the
No,
release.
they won't compel the release.
Are you involved in this litigation?
I'm just trying to clarify.
Well, are you involved in litigation, Barbara? Because I've been
I'm
involved in
trying to-
litigation.
You read the statement, I'm trying to clarify what you
Well,
said.
the clarification is, the order said you can't release the report.
And so
I'm not sure how else to put it.
So that's public record.
The order is public record, sure.
And is there a decision with that?
There's an order with that.
And then you also referenced that there was a settlement agreement that, where the parties all agreed that the report could not be released.
Right.
Who are the parties to the settlement agreement?
The plaintiffs, there's two agreements, two plaintiffs, and the defendant, the township of Neptune.
Right. So, have you asked the plaintiffs if they would waive their right to, or waive their privacy claim so that the report?
The privacy claims go beyond the parties to the suit. They involve everyone that was involved in the investigation. So unless you're going to ask every person that was ever interviewed for the same question, then you're going to have the same problem with privacy invasion.
So everyone who agreed to be interviewed insisted that their answers would be kept confidential?
Everyone who was involved in the interview is entitled to the right of privacy because they wouldn't participate in the interview unless the privacy claims were allowed.
So there's a document referencing it?
There's the confidentiality agreements between the parties.
That's different than the parties to the litigation and the persons who were interviewed, yeah?
Well, I just got done giving you 4 reasons, one of which is that the parties agreed the document shouldn't be released. And the second reason is because of privacy, which is separate and distinct from the agreements.
So all of the people who were interviewed insisted that their answers be kept confidential?
All those people who were interviewed expect that their answers be kept confidential. And we run the risk.
Okay, you clarified. So they didn't demand that their answers be kept confidential?
I haven't gotten letters saying, no, you can't do it, you can't do it. The reason for the open public records exception is that there's an assumption that parties who participate in certain capacities expect that what they say is private. And you're talking about everyone who's in the Turner report.
And I assume that's a finite number of people. And this is certainly important enough that it would be worthwhile asking these people if they would waive their right to confidentiality and privacy. So you haven't done that. And I think also on a previous occasion, the Township Committee indicated that none of them had read that report. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yep, none of you have read that report. So we have heard many, many times Dr. Brantley and others say that all of the issues are being addressed. I'm kind of perplexed as how you can address the issues.
Say all of the issues.
You say that there are issues in the police department and they are being addressed.
Yes.
But yet none of you have read the report. So how do you know what the issues are?
That report is not the police department.
The Turner report didn't involve the entire police department or a history of the police department.
It involved the specific instances that we are talking about.
And
those are the allegations that were made by those two officers.
And those
That's what that report involved. That's what that report involved.
That's right. And that was settled. That was settled, and the report was not to be released.
The fact that those lawsuits exist, and the fact that one of those officers resigned, indicates that there are problems in the police department. And the Turner report was commissioned in order to investigate the circumstances surrounding that lawsuit.
That's right.
And to identify, allegedly, hopefully, the issues that precipitated those lawsuits. Yeah? We would agree, no?
And the parties agreed not to release the report.
Yes, but you haven't asked them to waive.
And they haven't offered the waiver. Well, look,
If you were really as committed to transparency as you all said, you would have read that report so you would know what the Turner Commission, what the results of their investigation were. But none of you have done that. And yet you say you would address these issues. You don't even know what issues were involved by that report.
That's an unfair statement.
That is an unfair statement.
I'm sorry, that's a totally unfair statement because you're assuming they're not investigating on their own those issues, but they can't look at the report.
I am assuming that. I am assuming
You're
that.
assuming that.
Because willed ignorance seems to be the go-to, that seems to be the default mode around here. Willed ignorance. I don't know, therefore I cannot be held accountable. And that is unacceptable.
You had your hand up on it, yes. No, this gentleman here.
Ernest Mignola from Asbury Park, New Jersey. I came because I'm very interested in the report.
Speak into the mic. Give your
I
name.
came because I'm very interested.
Name and address.
I didn't get your Ernest Mignola, 400 Heel Lake Drive, Asbury Park, New Jersey. I came because I'm a resident homeowner in Asbury, and some of the things around this report clearly cross over into Neptune Police Department, Asbury Park Police Department, and the Monmouth County Prosecutor. I think you've seen the articles this week that the lawsuit by the Seidel family was just filed. It names the Neptune, I believe, Police Command. It names the Asbury Park Acting Deputy Chief, retired, now present Acting Deputy Chief Kelso, Gramaccioni, the prosecutor. It seems like all information relative to this lawsuit is of tremendous interest to the public, to the lawyers involved on both sides, to the point where it seems like the county is kind of lawyering up. I mean, around us are all these lawsuits. West Long Branch, $1.5 million for a female police officer harassed on the job. Long Branch for a court or administrator in the office harassed on the job by the city manager, $750,000 settle. You know, we're probably looking at $10, $20 million in the Seidel case. I mean, how many more settlements and how many more times can municipalities say to us, listen, don't worry, we have insurance. At what point are municipalities, insurance goes up when settlements are paid out. I've watched in Asbury, it seems like everything's no contest. It's just a question of how much money do you want to make this go away and to come up with these agreements that are like, don't talk about it. You know, female officer, pregnant, minority, harassed by a captain in the Asbury Park Police. Let's settle for $55,000, but you got to promise not to talk about it. Why is everything? And when someone comes up with data that's available, I know the data on that person's chart. FBI statistics rate Asbury Park fourth most dangerous place per capita of 560 municipalities in New Jersey. No one refutes that. Neptune is complaining of the overflow crime. You know that, Mayor. Badly from Asbury Park. It's like we're contiguous. So you have to deal with it. And Interlake and Deal has to deal with it. And it seems like everything's centering around Asbury. The Seidel incident happened in Asbury. The police officer was 15 years on the Neptune police. He just woke up one day and he was a bad guy. Is that how it works? Or did German, who's on the loose now, the Asbury Park police officer, 17 years on the Asbury Park police, he just woke up this one day and fled court and freehold, and now there's a manhunt for him? I don't understand what the veil of secrecy is when the public wants to know who's being paid to protect us, and do we need a little protection from them? I mean, that seems to be what the press is saying, what civilians are saying, and at least what my experience is. Thank you for your time.
There were a couple of things that you said that are inaccurate, and in the Seidel case and the Turner report, there's no relationship there.
No relationship.
And
How do you know? How could
How do you know? Well, obviously, by saying more, I'm going to
that's
violate
like
the
saying
four
there's no
principles I just
relationship
said.
between the Neptune Police Department uniforms and the Asbury Park Police Department uniforms. They're identical.
Well, that's your opinion. Okay, but you're trying to say there's a relationship between the Seidel case and the Turner report, and you don't even know what the Turner report says, and I can't have it
Can I tell you
released.
something, sir? I know a lot about all these cases. I studied. So for you to say that, it's not fair.
I think it's quite fair.
I know everyone in these cases. I know the lawyers. I know the police. I know everyone. I was born here. I'll bet I know more than you about it.
then you should know that the Seidel report and the
Because you
Turner
didn't
report
talk to
have
me
no
about it.
relationship.
Wait, what's the comment?
There's no
You know,
relationship.
first of all, Commissioner, I don't see what's humorous about this.
I'm not.
I know, but you're chuckling, but I don't see what's humorous, because I'm very serious.
I didn't laugh anything about
Okay, well, I thought you were
No,
chuckling.
no, I don't.
Well, that was this one.
I won't chuckle, I ain't gonna, no.
There's some inaccuracy in what you're saying, and just to summarize,
Please,
what's
Mayor, just
going
tell me
on here.
quickly, so I know. What was it inaccurate?
Beg your pardon?
What was inaccurate, please?
Okay, you said that the Seidel report and the Turner report, we can't react to the Seidel because we're not looking at the Turner report. Well, that's not true.
I didn't say that. What I'm saying is the prosecutor's press release after the Seidel matter was that this could not have been prevented. And everyone knows that the Monmouth County prosecutor and the Neptune police rearmed Seidel. Now, would that not have prevented it had they not rearmed him?
Well, first of all, you're talking about stuff
I
that
know,
can't be
now I'm
discussed in
making
the
it up.
middle of litigation. So we're in the middle of litigation now with Seidel, and you want to discuss details.
Why not? It's public knowledge. Everybody's talking
Well,
about
that's the
it.
same old story, and I know Barbara won't agree with this on this, but when you have litigation, you're not going to discuss the details when you're doing discovery and trying to find out what the truth is.
It's in the paper every day. In other words,
That
I
doesn't
can't
make it
discuss
true.
it, but the newspaper
You
can.
can discuss it with anyone you want, but the township committee's not going to discuss it with you.
I didn't think you're pretty much professing to me I'm not discussing with you. We just make statements. I'm saying Seidel was rearmed. That would have prevented this from happening.
Excuse me.
We're done?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Could you hold this? Like this. Like this. Okay.
Hey there, this is Jen Coombs. I'm from Neptune City Metro Mr. Media. I'm not addressing any one case at all. My one question is, where's the transparency? Where's the accountability within Neptune Township? It's not even Neptune Township, it's within Monmouth County and beyond. I'm asking you, and you, especially you, because you're like the liaison for the police department. Where is it?
Well, this case is, as Mr. Anthony said,
I'm not talking about any one case, I'm just saying in general. Because I don't see it from this township at all.
The township discloses what it's legally capable of disclosing. You know, transparency is offset by other constitutional rights, and we just mentioned some of them in this statement. So sometimes you can't do certain things that you want to do because they affect other legal rights.
I understand that, but when there's transparency and accountability, policy changes. That's how it goes.
The reason why Oprah has exceptions to transparency is because there are certain exceptions that affect legal rights that supersede transparency.
Explain.
I already explained it in my statement. There's privacy rights, there's
Well, I'm
confidentiality.
not talking about one case, I'm just talking in general, okay?
In general, I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about something that's being litigated, the township committee can't talk about something when they're involved in litigation. There's a number of reasons for that, but one reason is because the insurance carrier doesn't allow it. If you're talking about the report, I've already told you what the offsets are on that report.
I have done research into this. I just know when there's transparency and accountability upon a police department, policy changes, and you get the trust of the public back. That's how it goes.
The township committee wants to release as much as it's legally capable of releasing, and it's investigating everything it can investigate without being in breach of any confidentiality or privacy rights.
And policies have been changing and will continue to change. Maybe not at the pace that we would like or you would like, but we're committed to making changes in policies where it's needed, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Jesse Thompson. I'm here visiting Asbury Park, and I live in Singapore. One of the major differences between the two governments is that here we have freedom of information. And I feel like today you've been very generously brought some new information, data collected by your citizens. Of course, the great benefit of freedom of information is that you have citizens working for you, collecting data, manipulating, or sorry, not manipulating, collecting information, and intelligently articulating it to you. So, you know, as a spectator, I'm just wondering, like, as I see you confronted with this, and you know, you're surprised by it, and I know you have your own numbers crunchers and data collectors, and so I wonder, like, what I don't see is how you're organizing to respond to that data. I haven't seen any efforts to connect with these people that have been making very good points, and I guess I think sort of taking the pulse of the crowd, some of these points have just been sort of swept aside. Like the very good question of why those people weren't asked to relinquish their privacy if your intention is to be so transparent. So I don't know if you want to respond to that.
As far as the data is concerned, that's the first I heard that data, and I did say, wasn't hiding anything, I said that we would look at that data and look at our data and confirm that that data is accurate. We have been, like I told the young lady that was here, the things that we do know, the things that we have looked at, we are making changes, have been making changes, and we'll continue to make changes to improve our police department, as we should be doing, whether there's incidents or not. As far as, what was the second part of this question?
Well, but I guess my question would be, like, you have a chart here. Do you take a picture of that chart? Do you contact the person? Like, how do you get that information? You say,
You know, to tell you the truth, and I find this amusing in a way, we've been getting our own calculations, our own statistics that don't show what you just showed us at all. And it would have been helpful.
I didn't show you anything.
Whoever was showing the chart. And it would have been helpful if instead of bringing the chart now and grandstanding, if the information could have been given to the Township Committee ahead of time so they could compare their information with the Township Committee's information and then investigate it.
We've been asking for meetings for 6 months.
That's the first time we saw that chart, and we have different calculations, different statistics completely.
Let's have a meeting. But let's get everybody, NAACP. This is my question. First of all, I didn't send you that information. You did. I'm asking a question about how it is that you're approaching, and you're being like super combative with the guy that brought it with you right now.
Well, you asked the question, why didn't we respond to the chart?
I said, how do you respond to the chart?
Well, I thought you said, why didn't you respond to the chart?
And I told you we would look at that information and look at our own. I said that when he came up.
How?
How?
Yeah, did you take a picture of it?
We didn't need that. We can find out the statistics ourselves. We can check with the county. Like he said he got it. We can check with them. We don't need his chart.
There it is. I did take it.
Way to go, Vito.
Okay, thank you.
My only response to that too is, again, I know Randy works hard at what he does. That chart showed up to 2015. My question is, we were accredited in 2016. Why not were the 2016 figures included so we could see what happened between 2015, which was high, I'll grant you that according to your chart, after we got accredited. Did we go down? Did we, that's why I couldn't follow that up, because you only gave us 2015, Randy. Yeah. And remember, for a fact we were accredited last year, we had to answer up. We had to pass 100 questions of standardized questions, not only from the Neptune Police Department, but from the Department of the Chiefs who will conduct the accreditation. I'd like to see, compared to what you had, what we now have from our figures, including 2015 and up to 2016 and up to 2017. Let's see if there's a pattern where, since we were accredited, things have changed and we've gotten better.
And we will look at that. We will look at that.
And we can look at that. We do have all that information.
But
thank you.
You've had 5 minutes.
And I just want to add to what Nick says. I've sat on juries, and the judge's instructions were not to make any emphasis on information without the sources, because you don't know the conditions upon which it was gathered. So if we're able to look at it, and we can look together.
We don't need. You've had your 5 minutes. No more responses. If you've been up to the mic already.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your response. That was the most substantial response to it, rather than being dismissive. So thank you for that.
We weren't dismissive on that. Yes.
Joyce Klein, 105 North Way, Ocean Grove. I actually come to you to talk about parking, but I have a few other comments as well. I know you're all breathing a sigh of relief for that. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I heard that Bain Avenue would be lined in 7 to 10 days, and then I saw the signs. It looked like you were going to line Main Avenue, and nothing has happened. Is that still on schedule?
It is still on schedule. I don't know exactly what our start date is going to be, but Public Works is ready to move out there to do that
Maybe
work.
before the 4th of July?
I'm hoping so.
Can you light a little fire?
I can.
Under that.
And I'll reach back out to you and let you know what's happening.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the efforts that have been made on parking so far, but I want to point out that Friday night's Bridge Fest pointed out to many, many people, and I think Rob knows, he was at the homeowners meeting on Friday, that there was a pretty much discontent with the parking situation at Ocean Grove this weekend. And this will be my first, I'm not necessarily looking for a response tonight, but I want you to know that we at the homeowners believe it is time to renew our requests and for you to begin to think seriously about permits again. I know we worked hard on it last year, and we didn't come to but I think that there is perhaps more public sentiment than there was on the task force for permits. And so I just want to let you know that we're back. We'll be here. We won't go away. And we'd like to continue our conversation about permits. Switching gears for a minute to the topic of what seems to be the topic of the evening, I guess I have a couple questions there. You said there's been changes, there's going to be more changes. What are some of those changes?
The accreditation.
And so can we get a copy of what goes into the accreditation? Is that a public document?
We can, yes.
Can I file a request for that?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that. And I guess along the Oprah lines, Mr. Anthony, I respect that there's a confidential settlement out there, although I do, I think in the interest of transparency, if for no other reason than that there is such public concern, to dispel that concern, perhaps it would be useful for the township to look at being able to make some or all of the Turner report public. And I understand that there are privacy interests, and I understand that there are confidentiality interests, but I do hope after this meeting tonight that there will be some discussion with the plaintiffs in that case about waiving confidentiality. And I understand that there are some privacy interests that can't be waived, but I also understand that redaction is possible when one of the exceptions to Oprah comes up. And I know that when I have Oprah documents here, I have received them from Mr. Cottrell, and they have been redacted. So I am certain that that could happen with the Turner report.
If you redact every person who's in the,
well, you probably don't have to redact. If the plaintiffs agree to waive confidentiality, those people would not have to be redacted. I'm not sure.
Separate issue, they still have a right to privacy, even though they're not part of it.
And they certainly have a right to waive that. So I'm hoping that will be pursued a little bit, because I think that by seeking to keep it confidential with all sorts of statements, which I understand the legalities behind them, but by doing that, you do yourselves and the public a disservice by letting us think that there are things in there that it would be best we don't know. And maybe there are, and maybe there are not. But transparency and a little sunshine never hurt anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, you got your hand up.
I'm just returning.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council, unfortunately,
Please name and
Name and address.
my name is Tom Baldwin, and I have two addresses, Freehold, New Jersey, and Madrid, Spain. As I started to state, the situation here in Neptune has brought us to become international. And I say that because my daughter called me this morning from Madrid, and she said, Tom.
If you can speak into the mic, because we're recording.
Thank you. My daughter called me this morning, and she urged me to buy yesterday's Asbury Park Press. I was unaware of what was going on down here until I read that article. And quite frankly, I was upset. Now, senior citizen, and I was original member of the Tuskegee Airmen, one of the few remaining, and I thought 10 years ago that I was finished jumping up and down and protesting about treatment of police against minorities, and people that more or less are a little bit to the left. So my question is this: are you folks willing to concede that there is a problem with the police department and there's some minority residents, number one? Number two, do you have any police officers that are above the rank of sergeant? Or do you have any black police officers, period? Number three, the police that was involved in this situation, are they still on the force? And number four is, how have we got to this point where it seems like an officer, no matter what he does, is protected by confidentiality? If we're an ordinary citizen, or even one of the folks up there on the dais, do something, their names are in the paper, they have to face charges and all like that, and this is well before they go to trial. A lot of times they more or less try in the press. So why is there such a it double standard when a police officer does something that he's more or less protected and as a private citizen isn't. So, you know, I'm hoping to know what the response is.
I have a lot of general questions.
Some of the questions you're referring to, you know, one of the problems here is that the same two people are involved in two separate lawsuits. We have a present pending lawsuit, the same people that settled in 2013, so the township committee can't very well get involved in discussing even what happened in 2013 when there's a lawsuit now with the same people. So that's number one problem. Privacy applies to all people in the police department, including the plaintiffs. And it applies to anyone who was interviewed for any purpose involving the case. And third of all, we do have black officers, including a captain. And fourth of all, a lot of people from the 2013 case have retired and left by now. So there's those issues. And I think that probably touches on all the major questions you have.
I just think it's a double standard if a police officer is involved in something of this nature, any kind of nature, he seems to be protected by so-called privacy clauses, whereas ordinary taxpaying Joe, like myself, or even you folks up there, you do something, it's in the paper, there's no such thing as a privacy there.
These same principles apply to any municipal employee. It's not just the police, so public works employees, administrative employees.
Let's draw it a little bit further. Why is a public employee protected by privacy?
Because of the way the statutes are written.
To me, it sounds like a good old-fashioned double standard.
Some of this is, when I advise a client, I have to advise them based on the laws and the statutes applying. If you want to change that, then you have to talk to some legislators.
Thank you.
In general, I would like to say, even if we don't talk about the 2 or 3 cases that are in litigation, why are we looking at the police department in general? Do not talk about even those cases that are in litigation. What is going on in the department other than that? Can't we look at those statistics and know what your statistics is? Are they classified by, are they sexual harassment? What are they? And what is being done about the issues of cops being handed guns that are maybe not mentally stable, or what are, you know, and it's not those cases, or is everybody else on the police force okay, or are we checking everybody out, not just the ones that did that? Let's look at the rest, and let's get transparent about that. And what are the things you're doing to hopefully change and make things better? Next, North End, my generic question. Any updates from Jeannie and Vito? Thank you for getting involved with helping to get the camp meeting to do something. I'm hoping that something happens by July 1st. And is the town involved at all with the actual action of cleaning up, or is it all camp meeting themselves, or are you assisting them in any way?
We are working with the Camp Meeting Association. We've actually moved some, we had some multiple sections of fencing that have been there since Sandy, and we moved those, the township moved them the other day out of there. And again, we have a plan, and you should see action there.
Great. Next is parking. I am a resident of Ocean Road with the problems of parking on weekends. Obviously, Bridge Fest created some extra issues this weekend, but every weekend is the Asbury people coming and parking on the north end of Ocean Road. And I would like to see a permit system, at least one, I don't know, maybe 2 per house, but maybe, that's maybe, I don't know, 1 per house, I don't know, something. And if you have to charge for them, you have to charge for them, but that would, to me, be, I don't know, biased to people who have money that can pay for them. You know, poor people that can't pay for those parking permits might have a problem too, but whatever you gotta do something. I have handicapped people coming to visit me that I have to do a personal valet for them because they can't park. 5 and 6 blocks or 10 blocks away and trying to get to the house. I have to make arrangements to say, when you come, stop the car, I'll park your car, and you get in, and that happens many times on weekends, whenever I have anybody that can use it. I'd like to see permit. Next, the last two topics, still asking more than because I have things. It's, if I understand correctly, the only thing going on with the HPC guidelines is that you have an RFQ for an architect. Nothing else is going on right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Just want to make sure for transparency. CLG, over a month ago I've asked what was going on, and at that point I heard the statement, you're trying to engage SHPO to help you with the application. What is the current status of CLG now?
We are still trying to engage SHPO.
You know what? Nancy Clark, and may she rest in peace, Kathy All, offered you the name of the person. It can't take a month to get these guys. They will help you get them. It seems like it takes a long time to engage a person who's willing to help you.
It's all part of the process with the RFQ and the guidelines, and it's all part of the process.
Seems like it's taken a long time, but I'm going to skip that and try and get some more information on it then.
I did get, as I usually do before every meeting, anticipating your questions, I contacted Wave, and Wave did get back to me and said that they should be completely wrapping up their agreement with the Camp Meeting Association this Thursday. So, that's what they're telling me. Now, if that's true, then we can go right to what needs to be done to get the financials from the developers and to get together and start doing redevelopers agreement.
And Mr. Anthony, I'd just like to add, I just wanted to say with the police department, we've enhanced our community outreach. We have liaisons to the various homeowners association groups. With the high schools, we've been participating in their jumpstart programs as well. We just had fishing, we have cops with basketball in addition to softball. So we've been enhancing our community relationship.
We've had more police officers. We've established. I keep mentioning
That's what I.
not the end all.
That's what I mean.
We established accreditation, which changes the policy on how policemen react and reporting any kind of problems that they see. We have been doing something, and we will continue to do something.
And I'd like to say, according to our stats, it showed like a reduction in crime.
What are the actual statistics for 2016 and improvement of 17? And what are the categories of the problems that they're having? I mean, no offense, I want to say 70,
but I just want to say there's a lot of good going on too. But we should have fair.
We've shown some in the police report. We've shown some statistics and things that are going on. At that particular thing, I don't think is in there, and he presented it, and we will look into that.
In the past 3 weeks, I've seen the police department people make right-hand turns without directions. I mean, I don't know if those complaints are that. It would be nice if they used a directional, but I mean, I don't know what those complaints are. And I think we need to categorize them. I think we need to understand what's going on. And if there are enough complaints of sexual harassment or people that are not stable or whatever, we have to address that. And I think there's enough people talking about this. And no offense, I've come to these meetings for a few years now, and I've seen it come up a lot over those years. And it's something's not been the same with Denmark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike, I think he's next. Yes.
Mike out Cliffwood Drive. So I read the article in the paper, and he can correct me, I'm sure. Mr. Petrell's comment was that the reason why the Turner report is not released is because it was never officially accepted or taken into custody by the governing body. Is that correct? Am I mischaracterizing?
That's one part of it. The other issue
Well, hold on. He made a statement about that.
You made a
Let's do it
statement at the
again.
beginning of the case.
I wasn't here, and I want to hear it.
I know. Okay, you want to hear the whole thing over?
No, I want to hear his explanation.
No, it comes from the attorney. It comes from the attorney.
The explanation is under the Open Public Records Act.
Right.
We cannot release information of this sort because of the privacy requirements that come out of the people that were involved in Turner.
I get that, and we talked about the redacting, but the explanation that it was never accepted by the committee.
The reason why it wasn't accepted was because it wasn't part of an investigation of the entire police department. It was a report that was requested by the insurance carrier
Right.
on the particular incident, so they could decide how to settle it or try it.
Okay.
And then after they did it, neither party wanted to use it, and when they settled the case, they excluded it from disclosure.
So, but are you representing, I'm just curious, that every single document that has been successfully conveyed to the public through Oprah were all accepted by the township committee? Because I know there are documents that are not officially
I can't.
accepted that are released, so
I can't
on that
accept.
criteria alone, it's a little off.
I mean, I couldn't say that every report, this is the only one I know that wasn't accepted, to tell you the truth.
Okay, and so the representation was made in a prior argument that the township committee had not read the report.
That's right.
That's right?
That's correct.
There's no township committee person that's ever read the report or seen the report?
No, because it was part of a settlement that said non-disclosure to anyone,
So,
including the township committee.
but you willfully chose as a township committee or a governing body not to read it. You could have read it, right? You weren't restricted within the law.
To tell you the truth, we would have been in violation of the agreement.
To read it?
That's right.
No, not to distribute it, but to read it, you couldn't read it?
I interpret that agreement that way.
Because I've been saying for 2 years now that the police director and the chief of police should either resign or step aside. We have more evidence that there's something wrong going on in the police department than we do with collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, and yet we've had an attorney general that has stepped aside, we have a special counsel, we got all that going on in Washington, right, in the swamp, and we have this little puddle here, and we're not satisfied that there's any fire where there's smoke. And my question is, if you didn't read it, I don't think you would have been in violation of the settlement, though I didn't read the settlement, so it's not fair. I'm not an attorney. But so we extended the contract to the chief, and we preserved the position of the police director when there was information there that could have pertained to both of those individuals, specifically, not to the general public. So you technically negotiated those contracts, signed that contract, preserved the directorship of the police department blind. I would have gladly, and I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking, you're going to tell me that, but if I was sitting on the other side of that dais, whether I was the police commissioner or not, I would have been jumping up and down, stomping, asking to see that report, or I wouldn't have voted on the chief's contract, just to make sure, just to remove him from that situation. The accreditation process and the accreditation, or being accredited, is really a shallow argument for the improvement of the police department. And I'll ask a question first, but I'm going to make a statement first. If the chief has a complaint, or one of the senior officers has a complaint levied by an officer that's subordinate in the chain of command, the chief assigns people within the department to investigate him. Hey, did I make a mistake? And we have a problem with that going on in Washington regarding the firing of Mr. Comey. So it doesn't pass the smell test. It smells like really bad cheese. Can you tell me, since you know more about the accreditation process than I do, I said that, but I don't think that. Can you tell me that there's never been a department with the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police that's been accredited that has never had a complaint for sexual harassment, hostile work environment, or anything threatening any form of prejudice, bigotry, racism, discrimination? Can you tell me that the accreditation process just kind of washes that, sanitizes, sterilizes that away, that it's never happened after they were accredited? I'm just curious. I never asked the question. I know the answer. I don't ask the question of you unless I know the answer first. Right. You don't know the answer, but you should know the answer. The answer is no.
The statement I'm answering part of your question. Your time is up. The statement I made is accreditation is a beginning process. It's not the add-all. It does change policies on how things are reported, how police officers are supposed to act, and a few other things in there. It can be made public. You can make an open request to look at it, and that's not the only thing we're doing. We're doing as much as we can with the knowledge that we have, and we will continue to do things. Good time is up.
Differences aside,
No. You can talk to me. You can talk to me after the meeting. Good time is up. The time is up. Yes, ma'am. Yes. No. Wes. And that sign is collecting data to determine if the speed bump is needed to be put over there.
Okay, but I'm saying, a lot of relative residents, they are not slowing down to the sign. But I appreciate it being put there. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Ann Horan, 69 Clark Avenue, Ocean Grove. Kevin, you were talking about outreach programs that the police department is working on, or you already have the programs in place, and you've been doing this for a while. And people should know, that those who don't know how the township committee functions, that it's just this year that you're back as police. And this is the first time in how many years have you now?
Since, well, I was mayor last in 2011, 2014, last year, and then police commissioner this year.
Yeah, but you haven't been police commissioner for what, about 4 years or something like that? Yeah. Okay. The other, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, not to detract from my time, but the other thing is a lot of police officers now are pursuing higher education as well, going for their masters.
Okay. All right. Now, you are doing outreach programs, which is great, the police and the community, but what are you doing internally? Are you doing an in-reach program about you guys working with the police department, telling them that the complaints that people are giving you about them and how they're...
Well, the thing about it is, what we try to do is stay out of the day-to-day operations. I talk to Mr. Bascom, I might say, at least 2 to 3 times a week about policy and things that we can be doing to improve. So the day-to-day operations, we let the chief handle that. I'm not a police officer, never will I be. So, we stay out of their day-to-day operations, as we should.
Okay. The other thing, I'm going to, just a question, or to put my 2 cents into the permit parking in Ocean Grove. I think it's becoming more and more clear that adding 18 spots of parking in Ocean Grove is not the answer to our parking problem. The parking problem is bad and it's getting worse. So I think really hard thoughts have got to go into what can we do in Ocean Grove to alleviate. And this is a 3-month issue. That's what makes it hard. I understand that. But we've got to do something. There's got to be some way that we can help the people in Ocean Grove to cope with all the people that come in during the summer months and things that go on, to enable them to park at least close to their residence. That's all I have.
About parking, I've been on this committee for going on 9 years, and this is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd time that we've had studies and commissions on parking in Ocean Grove, and permit parking has come up each time. And we've had parking engineers talk to us, we've had the community talk to us, and permits is difficult, very, very difficult to do. And I think one of the engineers said a long time ago, and the numbers aren't accurate, but it would capture the problem that we have, is that if you have 500 spaces and 2,000 cars, permits and a lot of other things are going to be very difficult to work. And we keep looking at ways of how to make it work, and we haven't come up with an answer yet. So I guess next time we look at it, we'll look at it again, and hopefully somebody can give us an answer that's better than we've had.
I think based on the number of suits that are coming up against the police department, you're going to need a lot more money. So there might be that might give you an idea to help.
The money isn't the problem, but permits. It's how to be fair with it. Okay. Finally.
Hi, Nancy Clark, 47 Embry. Nice to see you all. Although I'm not here to speak about the
to the police department, as other people have suggested. That's my statement on that. The certified local government application, when you say that you've been trying to reach for people in the Trenton, is it that they're not calling you back? Is it that you need assistance? What can we do to move this along?
I'll certainly take assistance.
If you would like to, I would be more than happy to come and meet with you to see what we can do to get it moving along.
Let's do that.
All right. Now on to the RFQ for historical preservation architects related to the Historical Preservation Commission. I understand that you received two responses to the RFQ, and that you perhaps were reviewing the applications during your executive session, or what was happened? So what has happened at this point?
We decided that we were going to put it out again and revise the wording so that we can get more than two. And we're reaching out to.
And we're going to be reaching out to Preservation New Jersey to assist us in the process.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful idea, and I also urge that you have a member of the Historic Preservation Commission work with you on the wording of the RFQ so that you can make sure that the assistance that they need to make the process open, transparent, and efficient can be worked into the RFQ when you're looking for the architects or whomever, or it may not even be an architect, it might be a historic preservation expert of some sort. So I urge again that a member of the Historic Preservation Commission be included in the process. Anybody think it's a good idea?
We'll discuss that.
Because we've been asking for that for several months now, and we've continued to wonder why the Historic Preservation Commission is not included. So we ask that again, and we'll be doing it again and again. And I'm sure they will be glad to help you with the RFQ. Thank you.
Thank you.
John D. Giamardino, 147 Broadway, Ocean Grove. We did have a great weekend from a standpoint of tourism in Ocean Grove, part of Neptune Township, this last weekend with Bridge Fest. We had the auditorium sold out, which was the first time in a long time that the auditorium has been sold out. We recognize that it creates other issues with parking, but again, from the standpoint of folks being there, we did sell out. We appreciated the EMS and the MAD vehicle and support that was there from the township. I know many of the police that gets discussed, doesn't have been discussed tonight, but many of the police presence that we hire, we just appreciate them so much and are grateful for the police presence there in the community. We enacted a no backpack policy, which I think we communicated before. We want to make sure it's safe when people come into the community and they feel safe when they participate in the large venue that we have. But again, just thanks to the township for your support. Also want to mention that we are, again, the campaign going to be hosting, coordinating the 4th of July parade on the 4th of July, 10:30 in the morning. And I'll be contacting the police department because we are changing up the order a little bit. The police will be leading us, I think, as they have in the past. But our Grand Marshal this year is going to be our President, Dale Willett, and his wife, Carol. And so we're excited about that. And again, happy to be hosting that again this year. Thank you.
And if you have a minute after the meeting, I would like to have a discussion with you.
Sure, absolutely.
You had your name up, putting your hand up.
Richard Williams, 100 Avenue, Ocean Grove. I want to start by talking about parking. I had a wonderful experience this month. I went to the Asbury Park transportation meeting that they have once a month. And I have to say that it was a terrific pleasure to sit and watch people and listen to people who were aggressively attacking parking issues. Here's a couple of things that I learned in 15 minutes, and it wasn't because I asked what you're doing. I was just listening to the things that are being discussed. First of all, they are doing a trial run overnight, one side of the street, permit parking. It's in effect right now. They're already polling to see how it's working. There was a person that came forward and announced that there was going to be a first Saturday in Asbury Park every month. The first Saturday is the day to enhance commercial town store sales, and they asked if there's any way that there could be free parking instituted for that, and they took it seriously, and they're analyzing a way that they could open the parking garage to make parking free for first Saturdays. They're about to initiate a bike share program. They are about to do a major experiment this September. They are taking Route 71, which goes through Asbury Park. They're going to restripe it so it's a 3-lane road with a center turning lane, 2 side lanes, bike lanes. They're going to put a couple of bump outs at key strategic places to make it a shorter crossing distance. They have a whole philosophy about how they're trying to make Main Street a more active, dynamic place that people will want to go to stop in. They're trying to make a better effort to get a relationship between the east and the west side of the town. They've now saying that if you are developing a property in Asbury Park and you are required to, say, have 60 parking places, for every parking place that you can provide, you have to put $15,000 into a fund for future parking solutions. And most important, the mayor has turned to this transportation committee and says, you have 60 days to put in front of me more parking solutions for downtown Asbury Park. My mind was blown by what happened in just my listening in 15 minutes. And when they finally asked me what I was doing there, I told them who I was, and we had a nice conversation, and then I said, I have one question for you. I said, I know you all are aware of our parking problems on the north side of Ocean Grove. Do you have any thoughts on that? And they had 2 reactions. The first was laughter, and they said, it's not our problem. The second answer they said is, if you want to solve the problem, you have to start thinking about permits. So what I walked away from that meeting was, what I felt was, here's something that's about a mile away from us. And here's a group of people that have taken a whole different approach to parking. They're being proactive, they're being aggressive. They've hired a transportation manager whose full-time job is dealing with these issues, and they're trying to get ahead of all these issues. And my overall statement to you all is that I feel that you guys are a reactionary committee. And on all the issues, the parking issue that came out tonight, the HPC issue, which you've never ever given a reason for why you're doing it, and you're not including the HPC people in it. I was here for all the Shark River discussions when they were complaining about the bulkhead, and you all were, you sit here, and what I also want to say was that in our homeowner meeting on Saturday, I would say no fewer than 5 or 6 people stood up and said, look, you want something to happen in the township committee, you've got to go there and you've got to say things to them, because they won't do anything unless people complain. If they see the same old faces, they won't do anything. And I finally stopped and said to myself, why is it that we have to be the ones to make things happen in this town? Why is it that we have to come to you and demand? Why are you not out in front of these issues? I thought when Kevin tonight finally started talking about what the police are doing, that was a really positive thing. And I don't understand why you don't rethink the way you handle these meetings and get out in front of these issues and address the HPC without us standing up here saying why? And the police issues, why? Why are you not getting in front of these and making statements and telling us where you're going and what your vision is for this town? And I can only conclude by saying that I feel like you guys are just reactionary. You'd be in heaven if nobody stood up here and asked anything, because then you could say, phew, meeting's over, let's go home.
So much of what you said is inaccurate about reactionary. We do react to something, but we've had parking commissions, we've had parking engineers. Asbury Park does not have the problems that we have, although they have a big parking problem, and they're still struggling with it. We've tried different things. Permit parking, we've been through, I think if you are aware of the parking commission that we had, and if you see the information that they put out about permits and such, you'll have a better understanding of why permits are a problem. As far as, then you know why permits are a problem.
We see other towns with them, and we don't see why they're a problem.
You don't see why there's a problem. If you there's not enough parking spaces. Who do you determine who gets permits, who don't get permits? Well, everybody lives in the town. You cannot, one for what? One per house. They have 2 cars in the house, one. Then they don't get the park.
Permits don't guarantee parking, they make it easy.
Well, we've had, like I said, we've had, in the past 6 or 7 years, we've had parking engineers and task force, and we've looked at that. And no yelling. And as far as the police, what other area that you said we were reactionary to? The bulk. Yes, we did doing a study, not putting bulkheads up, doing a study. All right, and you're concerned about the study. We're having a community meeting to discuss the reaction of the community. So that's not just reacting. We had a plan, and always in the plan was to have a workshop for the committee, for the township to look, the citizens to look at. So we weren't just putting them up. We're doing a study on it, and we involve you in that. So I don't remember all the other things you said, but your characterization is a little bit skewed, and maybe there's reasons for that. Yeah.
Good evening again, Gail Oliver, Neptune City. I just have 4 things. The first I want to talk about is I noticed there was a resolution to accept, I guess, to renew the liquor licenses. Alpha Liquors was not on that list. I think typically they're renewed in July. Can any of you tell me, am I correct that they're not on the list, and will they be up for renewal?
Yeah, the license period, Gail, is July 1 to June 30th, and Alpha's not being renewed because they have not received tax clearance from the State Division of Taxation.
And why is that?
Because they're delinquent and they're paying their sales tax.
Okay, because you know, I guess I'm not sure if the public knows about the special meeting that happened last July in the afternoon with regard to the renewal of their liquor license. And Vito gave me, which I requested, and thank you, you did give me that list of the summonses thus far up to a point. Now, that list, were those summonses issued as a result of Alpha calling the police department or residents calling? Because I wasn't clear on that.
Well, I can't. Those are all the police responses to Alpha Liquors during that period of time that I gave you, whether it's generated by Alpha or generated by members of the public. I don't have that information. But it's either or. Anytime the police department is requested based on a specific incident, that's the response that you got.
Okay. And Mr. Baskin isn't here. He didn't stay for the rest of the meeting. How come he didn't stay?
Oh, he had a commitment.
Okay. All right, I'll move on then. The Mayor's Ball, I'm so happy all of you had such a great time. I used to get invitations, personal invitations to the Mayor's Balls, and I haven't gotten any in the last 2 years. Was I kicked off the list?
No. You know, that list, I don't know how accurate that list is, and I have a problem with that list. I had to conduct my own list. I tried to add to that list. There was, I think, more than 300 invitations sent out, and we've used the list that we've had. We don't take names off the list. We want as many people to get invitations as they can. So I didn't look to see if anybody I knew was on the list or off the list, but I had a couple of lists, and they sent out, and they gave me a couple of copies of the list, and I didn't look for people who I may know that may have been there or not. I don't know.
And to Dr. Brentley's defense, I mean, there was a big, I guess, electronic sign on Route 66 and right out here too. So
on the website.
Well, I saw all of that. I used to get invitations in the mail to the Mayor's Ball. I have not gotten an invitation in the last 2 or 3 years.
Did they have your address in Neptune City?
Of course they did, yes.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Don't know why.
Okay. Well, you know, there used to be a relationship there, and I guess there's not there one there now. Moving on, I also want to just acknowledge two people who passed away in our community, Neptune community. Raymond Holloman was the first one. She was 90 years old. She was a big supporter and advocate of the Westlake Avenue redevelopment. Also, she had a big portrait made of canvas done. It actually sits in the senior citizen building on Springwood and Atkins Avenue. It's called A Walk Down Springwood Avenue. And that canvas, in fact, there's smaller copies of it. I have a copy of it myself, but it's a really good, very colorful portrait of all the businesses from the railroad tracks all the way down, you know, Springwood Avenue into Neptune, of all the businesses on both sides of the street, way back when, before the uprising, which happened in 1970. So I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that she passed away, and also Gil Brooks passed away also. And I guess lastly, you know, I am very glad that the public is questioning and is involved about everything that's happening and everything that we're reading in the Asbury Park Press with regard to the police department. Thank you.
I'll make one comment to some of the things that you mentioned. You mentioned that you implied that your name might have been taken off the list. I'm not petty and vicious like that. I don't do those kind of things. So I don't take people off the list. I don't try to get at people. I had nothing to do with, I don't know why your name wasn't on that list, but it had nothing to do with relationships. I'm sure that the next mayor heard your statement and he'll make sure that you'll be on the list again. But that's nothing that I do, not my personality.
My name is Beth Noble, 134 Main Avenue, Ocean Grove, and it's about parking. I come from Jersey City. I've been coming to Ocean Grove weekends for a couple of years, and we have permits in Jersey City, and it works. It alleviates parking. It doesn't mean that everybody gets a parking space. It just means that you're allowed to park there. I mean, it doesn't have to be on every block. It doesn't have to be on every side of the block, but it just gives some parking. Some parking so people can park there. Everyone's not going to have a parking space, but they have the permission to park in town. I live on the northwestern end of Maine, and people park there and walk to the Asbury train station. They walk over to Asbury for dinner, to go out, to do something. It's amazing. In the years that I've been here, we've never had a problem at that end of the Maine, but now we do. And it's not people going to the beach or going to Bridgecrest. It's other things. So I really would like you to look at permit parking again, because it doesn't mean that everybody has a parking space. It doesn't work that way. It works in Jersey City, and it used to be terrible to park in my neighborhood. Once the permits came in, it was very easy. I'm now here full time, and I really like you to relook at it. When I first came, I thought, permits, that's silly in a little town like this, but I really think it's necessary. Second point, can you tell me about the RFQ where
Places with some additional places.
Well, actually, as I had commented at the last meeting, it goes through our normal advertising, our local newspaper. It's on our website. It also was advertised on the League of Municipalities website, where many professionals look for documents such as RFQs and RFPs, and it was transmitted to Preservation New Jersey and asked to be disseminated. So